I knew my wife was going through a bad time, but when I found a hidden camera in our bedroom, I realized her fears were more than just paranoia. When Lisa and I got married, everything was perfect. She's a kind, fun, slightly naive girl, and I'm the guy who always thought of myself as her protector. But over time, something changed in her. She became anxious, nervous, like she was afraid of something, but she couldn't explain what it was. "They're watching me," she said almost every night. "Liz, you're just nervous," I tried to reassure her. "It's safe here." But one night I woke up to her screaming. Liz was standing at the window, pale as chalk, her whole body shaking. I jumped out of bed and hugged her. "What happened?" "I saw him, Jake. He was standing there in the street. Looking right at our house." I glanced down the empty street. No one. I was ready to say she was just dreaming, but her eyes. They were full of terror. "Liz, you're just having a nightmare," I repeated, trying to speak softly. She pulled away sharply. "You don't understand. He watches me every night." I heard his footsteps under the window. I was sure it was just her nerves. She'd been working a lot lately, often staying up late at night. But the next day I decided to install a couple of cameras around the house, just to calm her down. For the first few days, nothing happened. The footage showed an empty yard, the occasional car on the street, and the occasional passerby. Lisa relaxed a bit, but one morning she came up to me again with a worried face. "Jake, there was someone out there." She pointed to the screen of her phone, which displayed the footage from the camera at the entrance. I opened the video. The footage did indeed show a shadow passing by the house at 3 a.m. I squinted, trying to make out a face, but the man was hooded. He just slowed down at our fence and then disappeared around the corner. "See? I'm not crazy. It could just be a passerby." At 3 o'clock in the morning. "Jake, he's watching me." I was beginning to think Lisa might be right. But so far, I wasn't sure it was the he she was talking about. To distract myself a little, I suggested that she spend the evening at a friend's house. Lisa seemed to agree, but there was still an uneasiness frozen on her face. The next day I decided to surprise her and came home from work early. Walking into the bedroom, I noticed that on the bedside table was her cell phone. It was strange, she usually kept it in her hand. I picked it up and noticed an unread message from an unknown number. "Do you still think he'll protect you?" I felt everything turn upside down inside. How had Lisa gotten such a contact? Why hadn't she said anything? I decided not to show any appearance and waited for her to return. When she returned, I cautiously struck up a conversation. "Liz, who's been texting you recently?" She froze and turned pale. "No one," she mumbled, clearly avoiding my gaze. "Then why is there a message on your phone from someone you don't know?" She froze in place. "It's just spam. I didn't want to bother you." "Spam? Liz, it says he's gonna find you." "Who is he?" She looked around confused and suddenly sat down on the bed, hiding her face in her palms. "Jake, I don't know. I keep feeling like someone's watching me. It's not the first time." I was trying to figure out what was going on when I noticed a strange dark spot on the light fixture. I got closer and realized it was a tiny camera. I froze, unable to believe my eyes. "Lisa. You know about this?" She looked at me in bewilderment. "What are you talking about?" "There's a camera. Right above our bed." Lisa jumped up and ran to the light fixture. I carefully removed the camera and showed her. "Who put that there?" I asked, feeling my heart clench with fear. "I don't know," she whispered. I started checking the other rooms and found 2 more cameras, one in the living room and one in the kitchen. They had been installed neatly and professionally. Lisa was shocked. "Someone has been watching us all this time," I whispered. "And not just outside. Inside the house." I called the police. They came quickly, interviewed us, and took the cameras for examination. I felt helpless. If someone had installed cameras in our house, then they knew how to get inside. When the police left, Lisa came over to me and hugged me. "Do you believe me now?" "I'm sorry, Liz. I should have believed you sooner." We didn't sleep that night. I sat by the window holding a kitchen knife. I didn't know who was behind it, but now I was sure of one thing: someone was really following my wife. And if I didn't find him first, we'd be in trouble. After the police took the cameras away, I tried to calm Lisa down. But her anxiety only increased. She wouldn't leave the window and kept looking outside, as if she expected to see someone she knew. "You really don't know who could have done it?" I asked cautiously. "Jake, I swear I don't know. But I'm sure it's the same person who's been following me for months now." I sat down next to her and took her hand. "I thought you were talking about the man under the windows earlier. Did you see him?" Lisa nodded. "A few times. He was standing under the streetlight, just looking at the house. But as soon as I got closer to the window, he disappeared." My insides flipped. Maybe her paranoia wasn't far-fetched. "Liz, if he's really following you, we need to find out who it is. I'll set up some more cameras. We'll catch him." She nodded tiredly, but I could still see the fear in her eyes. The next day I bought some hidden cameras and put them in unexpected places, one in the attic, one in the backyard, and one by the front door. This time I chose a system with a phone alert myself. If the cameras picked up movement, I'd know right away. While I was fiddling with the installation, Lisa quietly approached me. "Jake. You don't think I'm going crazy, do you?" "No, of course not," I answered, trying to sound confident. "I just wanted to make sure we were safe." When the cameras were set up, I turned on the monitoring. All day nothing happened. I tried to distract Lisa, ordered her favorite pizza, put on an old movie. But her thoughts were clearly far away from here. Later that evening, as we were about to go to bed, my phone vibrated. A message from the camera in the backyard. "Motion detected." I froze and looked at the screen. The footage clearly showed a shadow flickering near the gate. I turned on the flashlight and went out into the yard, but saw no one. Back in the house, I checked the tape again. Lisa was standing next to me, trembling. "It's him," she whispered. "We don't know for sure. Maybe it's just a neighbor." But I felt uneasy. I set the cameras to record and decided I wouldn't sleep a wink that night. Around 3 a.m., I suddenly heard a thud. I cautiously got up and went to the window. There was no one in the yard. Lisa was sleeping next to me, finally calmed down. But the phone vibrated again. Traffic at the main entrance. I walked slowly to the door and looked through the peephole. No one. "Maybe it's the wind," I muttered. But when I opened the app on my phone and turned on the recording, my heart went into overdrive. The video showed someone slowly leaning toward the door, as if trying to look inside. But the face was covered by a hood. I grabbed my phone and dialed the police. The operator asked me to stay on the line and wait for a patrol. I sat on the bed and tried to wake Liz up. "Liz, wake up." He was coming again. She woke up with a startled look. "Did you see him?" "No. Only on the tape." A few minutes later, the patrol arrived. I showed the cops the video, but their reaction made me wary. "Mr. White," one of them said, scratching the back of his head, "are you sure you don't know this man? This is the first time I've seen him." "That's odd. Our guys saw a similar guy in the neighborhood a couple weeks ago. He was looking for something near your house, but ran off when they spotted him." I frowned. Why hadn't I been told about this before? "We didn't know he was bothering you." The neighbors didn't notice anything either. I realized the police wouldn't take it seriously until something serious happened. After they left, I checked the tape again. Lisa was standing nearby, nervously biting her nails. "Jake, I think it's someone from the past." "Do you know him?" "No. But he reminds me of someone from my youth." I'm tense. "Can you explain?" I'd almost forgotten about it. When I was a teenager, I had a neighbor, a guy from a dysfunctional family. He followed me around a lot, wrote me notes. My mom banned me after he tried to climb in the window. "Do you think it's him?" "I'm not sure. But if it is, he won't stop." I hugged her and felt her shaking. I had to get to the bottom of Lisa's past. I called Mike, a friend of mine who was good at this kind of thing. Dude, I need some help, I said. I need to check out a guy from Lisa's past. Give me the info, I'll run it through the database. We sat up until almost morning, but Mike didn't call until noon. Sounds like you got a problem. What did you find? I found some old police reports. This guy, Eric Stanton, was convicted of stalking a few years back. Did a year, then disappeared. So he's back on the loose. Looks like it. He moved to another state with his parents, but since his mother died, his whereabouts are unknown. Lisa went pale when she heard that. He's back. He always said he would find me when he grew up. I thought it was just baby talk. I realized the situation was much more serious than it seemed. This guy had been obsessed with Liz since his youth and now he was back to haunt her again. Liz, we're not gonna sit around and do nothing. I'll do anything to protect you. She nodded silently, but I could see the fear returning to her. After Mike told me about Eric, I knew we had to act fast. If this guy had really come back to haunt Lisa, we didn't have a minute to lose. Liz, I said, trying to keep my voice calm, we need to get out of the house for a while. Do you think he'll find us even there? I just want you to feel safe. We packed up and decided to stay at Mike's for a couple days. He lived outside of town, in a quiet neighborhood where we could catch our breath and think things over. The next day, I got a message from the police. It turned out that someone had left another note on our porch. I asked Mike to come with me to pick it up. Lisa stayed in the house, we didn't want to disturb her. When we arrived at the house, there was indeed a crumpled piece of paper on the porch. I carefully unfolded it. You took her from me. But now I'm back. It's definitely him, Mike said. We need to call the police right away. They said they'd send a patrol, but they wouldn't give us much protection. I looked around the yard and noticed that there were dirty fingerprints on our bedroom window. I turned on my phone and pointed the camera at the window. As I stepped closer, I felt a chill run down my back. There were scratches on the glass, folding into a word. My. Mike whined. This psycho is really serious. I'm not going to let him get to Lisa, I said, clenching my fists. Turning back to Mike, I decided to tell Lisa about the note. She tried to remain calm, but her eyes showed fear. He's not going to stop, Jake. I know him. Liz, I won't let him ruin your life again. We were sitting in the kitchen when suddenly there was the sound of an engine outside. I looked out the window and saw an old pickup truck driving slowly past the house. Behind the wheel was a man wearing a hoodie. I grabbed my phone and turned on the recording. Mike opened the door and stepped out onto the porch, but the car had already disappeared around the corner. I think he's found us, Mike said, clutching the bat. We need to draw him out, I said. He won't stop until he gets his way. We decided to set a trap. I sent Lisa to her friend's house for the night, and I stayed outside the house with Mike. The cameras were on, and we watched every little thing. At 10 o'clock in the evening a shadow flashed on the screen. I recognized his silhouette immediately. He was creeping toward the house, peering cautiously through the windows. It's him, I whispered. It's him, Mike answered, clutching the bat. When Eric tried to peek through the bedroom window, I turned on the light. He froze, like a wild animal caught in the act. I stepped out onto the porch. What do you want? I shouted. He turned, slowly pulled down his hood, and smirked. She's mine, he wheezed. I've waited years to get her back. You're crazy, Mike said, coming out from behind him. Get away from this family. Eric didn't react. He took a step forward and suddenly pulled out a knife. If she won't be with me, she won't be with anyone, he whispered. At that moment, I remembered what Lisa had said about his mania. He'd always thought of her as his property. I realized that words wouldn't help here. Lisa had long since forgotten you. I shouted, trying to divert his attention. You're lying. She loves me. You just stole her from me. Mike quietly came up behind me and hit Eric in the leg with the bat. He collapsed to the ground, dropping the knife. I jumped on him and pinned him to the ground while Mike tied his hands. When the police arrived, Eric stared at me in silence. His eyes burned with madness. She's mine, he whispered before they put him in the patrol car. A couple days later, Lisa returned home. She couldn't believe the nightmare was finally over. Eric had been sent to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. It turned out that he had long been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Lisa was silent for a long time, staring out the bedroom window. "He always said he would wait for me," she said, putting her arms around me. "He can't hurt you anymore," I replied, kissing her forehead. That night I couldn't sleep for a long time. I knew that Lisa was no longer alone in this house. I would always be there to protect her. But the thought that someone had lived in delirium and haunted her for so many years kept me awake. I woke up one morning to find a box on the porch labeled, "For Lisa." I carefully opened it and saw inside an old toy, a teddy bear that Lisa had lost as a child. I pulled it out with trembling hands and noticed there was a note tied to its paw. "You took her, but I'll still come back." I realized that even though I'd been arrested, the nightmare wasn't over. Sometimes the past won't let go, even when you think it's forgotten. And some people never give up.